This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name is Jay Agner. Today, I am lucky enough to be joined by Kelley Thornton of Tiege Hanley. Did I get it right? Oh, Tiege. You said Siege. It sounds like Siege. It's Tiege Hanley.
That's right. Tiege Hanley.
How are you, buddy?
Awesome, Jay. Thanks for having me.
My first question, you mentioned it a little bit before the show. Where did the name come from?
It's family name. So Hanley is a surname. We're from the Canasta province in Ireland, which is just above kind of where Galway is, directly west of Dublin. And, you know, like many, we're all immigrants here in the U.S. Like many people, my family came over during the, hunger, potato famine, and, formed shop in Pittsburgh, and they were coal miners and steel makers. So that name came right out of our family Bible, 1400s, handwritten in the back in the family tree. I just love Tiege Hanley. I just, kind of one of those guys that like family history. And so it stuck with me. And I grabbed the tiege.com website many years ago. And I just loved it. I figure if there's a Paul Mitchell out there there could be a Tiege Hanley company that's focused on helping men look and feel amazing.
Well, so far it seems like it's working. And we will
Doing all right.
We will get to that. So where did you grow up, and did you have any kind of entrepreneurial, people in your background as you grew up?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very interesting question. I haven't gotten to I haven't soul searched deep enough in there, Jay, to figure out where the total entrepreneur thing came from. I grew up in Maryland. I was talking to my mom. She's 87. I was in Florida with her a couple weekends ago. She was in the antique business, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I just don't like antiques. Like all that old stuff just really bothers me. But she was in the antique business, and she was an entrepreneur herself. I don't know if that's exactly where I got it from. I started my first business, which was a painting company, hired a bunch of my college friends, and was very fortunate. I didn't realize how good that was. I was able to get out of college pretty much debt free. And then I spent 18 years in corporate, and then I spent 10 years with an agency that I created, and 8 years with an agency, global agency that I created called Purchase Point. So I have had an entrepreneurial journey, and I will tell you, it was interesting. I was at Chicago Blackhawks season opener. So I've got a new player that's very promising, Bednar on the Blackhawks. And he happened to score the first goal. But I was at the game, and we were kind of brought in, some people were there. And there's this guy there who manages all of Anheuser-Busch's, promo, like the whole thing at the stadium. He's just a big wig sitting next to me. And his wife said to my wife, like, what are you guys doing? She said, oh, my husband has his own company. And she goes, oh, he's an entrepreneur. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I love entrepreneurs. And I'm like, man, oh man, where's she going with this thing?
Right.
She's like, there's something about you guys. And she went into this whole thing. And yeah, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur from early on. There is something about entrepreneurs that's very compelling, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we're a huge hockey family, so my son is obsessed with Bednar. We'll see how that turns out. So you mentioned your painting company. You mentioned a couple other companies along the way. What kind of brought about Tiege Hanley? Like it seems like such a saturated space, and I feel like I talked to a lot of people who are super successful who ignored the fact that it was a very successful space and just went for it anyway. Where did the idea come from? Like, how did you start to just give me the genesis?
I mean, I started getting old and looking like shit, and was like thinking, what can I do here to like turn back time? But it was actually like through my agency where I was really focused on, we were an in-store agency. So we were really trying to figure out the psychology of a shopper, retail, and like what is going on when someone makes a purchase, and how can we influence that purchase? And we were doing it globally. So spent a lot of time really understanding the male shopper in this category, in the personal care category, And skincare was just like really interesting to me. Nobody was really doing a good job selling skincare at retail in the US. And it was very interesting to me, like the psychology of that. So I really spent a lot of time. And then, like I said, I really was very interested in trying to see if is there anything I can do to look better and feel better about myself. So I really got engaged with the category. I thought there's a huge opportunity in the US for the US market for guys to learn about skincare because, we just don't learn about it. We don't learn about skincare. It's not part of,
Mhm.
it's not part of our upbringing, right? Your father gives you a razor or your mother gives you a razor and he says, go upstairs and shave for the prom or whatever that one event is. But we're not getting, guys are not getting lessons on skincare. So I figured there was an opportunity to change that.
Yeah, I think it was Seinfeld or something. He said like that was like the one thing he suggested. He was like, get a skincare routine, which is like, a funny thing for a comedian to say, but and he's like, I didn't realize that until I had a wife. He's like, I didn't even know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't either. How did you, what was kind of step one for you to build this brand and this business? It's
I mean,
it's an interesting place. Like you said, I mean, did you dive into the research of like, ingredients and effects and all that sort of stuff? Like, how did you immerse yourself in this world?
yeah, I was really interested in the numbers and the size of the market and like what was the trends and what was going on and who was buying it. And so I really kind of wrote out an executive summary, a 10-page executive summary of my idea about what's going on in men's skincare, why is there changes taking place, societal changes, cultural changes, or creating this increased demand for knowledge. And then what was going on overseas, I really saw like massive spike overseas in the market for these products and thought, well, like, us gorilla style males in the US, our Marlboro smoking, horse riding males need a little more education. So I put together kind of a 10-page document and spent a year or so with it. And I brought in my first business partner who was a high school and college roommate, high school friend, college roommate into the business to kind of work on that thesis. So we spent about a year working on it. We actually launched a V1, which was all around building skincare routines for guys and educating them. But I was curating like really high end skincare in a guy's box in a box. So it was other people's products. It wasn't ours. So it wasn't right. And we couldn't really sell much. I brought some advisors in, talked me through it and realized we couldn't sell other people's products very well. It's kind of like a Birchbox concept.
Mhm.
So we couldn't monetize it. And there's a lot of flaws in the business plan. But we took about a year working on our own formulas, developing our own formulas, and then reaching out to our current third partner, which is this gentleman named Aaron Marino, who's a YouTuber who is talking about skincare, healthcare, dating, what it means to be a man today. And he was the perfect person to come on to be our, third triumphant in our partnership to really help our business grow. He was the mouthpiece. He was the spokes guy.
Hmm. Very uneducated question and maybe ignorant question, but I had somebody on who was developing sunscreen,
Right.
and she said, I was like, well, how did you even? And she's like, well, there's only like so many things that like FDA will like let you put into something like that. Did you
Correct.
kind of come to the same conclusion where like there's a limited amount of stuff, if you're going to make product XYZ that these things need and have to contain, and it's just some kind of mixture of those things, and you kind of go through the process of figuring out what those things are and the amounts that go into them?
There's something about like, it's in the book, like how to think like an astronaut. There's something about being really ignorant about an industry that gives you an advantage.
Hmm.
And I wish what, and it seems Pavlov, I really wish I remembered the term that he used, but we, myself and my other two partners I just described to you, Rob Hoxie and Aaron Marino, we knew very little. We knew nothing about chemistry and we knew nothing about like, formulation and ingredients. We just by complete happenstance ran into a chemist who specialized in cosmetic formulation. I mean, it's just pure coincidence. And it was right when we formed our partnership. It was about 3 weeks before our partnership. And actually, we had him on board before before we had kind of solidified Rob and Aaron and I's partnership agreement. And we told him what we liked. And we told him, we like, just make whatever you think is best. And it was probably like the moment in his career he'd been waiting for, because everybody had been telling him what to do, what not to do, all of his customers that he formulates for and the companies that he works for. And so he just created for us what he thought. And he did say, like, what do you like? What don't you like? What brands do you like? What brands don't you like? And like, what are like the most important things that you care about? So we wanted all our products to work together seamlessly. We wanted our products to be very light, like feel light on
Mhm.
your skin, because guys don't like heavy shit on their skin. It's
Right.
just like, you don't want to be shiny. It doesn't want to feel heavy. We want it to, like, absorb quickly. We don't want much of a smell. We just want like a natural kind of smell. And we were kind of going for this organic thing early on. He's like, do you want your products to really work, or do you want them to be like natural? We're like, kind of really want them to work. He's
Right.
like, all right, well, they'll be like partially natural, partially like, which is technically organic or synthetic. So that's kind of how it went down. And then when he gave us the formulas and he gave us all the samples, we are like, this is perfect. I mean, it took us a while to get there. And we started bringing them to contract manufacturers, because you don't, make this stuff. Yeah, you can, but it wasn't our intent to like make our own stuff. We just, we're not capable of that. We
Mhm.
took it to contract manufacturers here in the US, and they were just like, this is ridiculous. No one makes formulas like this. And we didn't know what to say. Like, we just honestly did not know what to say. We're like, yeah, we've been working years on those. Just that's what we want you to quote. They're like, "We could substitute this out and put this in." We're like, "No, don't do anything. Like, give us exactly what's in the
Mhm.
formula." And it product good product really, you know this from your background, having like really good product means a lot. If we hadn't have built such great products, if our chemist hadn't have built such great products, we would not have a great company. The fact that he built great products and we gave him the license to do it,
Mhm.
was really like that, and having a voice in the market. Those two things were like gold to
Hmm.
us. And we didn't realize it, until many years later.
So what happened? I need to know the rest of that story. I mean, when you tell them like, just make it, what do they say?
Yeah. I mean, I am not like pulling punches here. This is exactly how it works.
Yeah.
It's like, they would be like, we don't need this. We can take stuff out. And we're like, we honestly had no idea what they were talking about. So the only answer we could give them was, no, just follow it exactly. That's
Right.
exactly what we want. I mean, I know, 10 times, 100 times much more now. that It's not, there's not only like an ingredient list, but like there could be an ingredient like niacinamide, and we will specify the ingredient that we want, like this company's niacinamide. But then there's like a breakdown of all the things that are in that specific company's niacinamide.
Mhm.
Like, the very specific thing there. So there's like an inky number, which is like the number of that product. And then there's like a quantitative and qualitative analysis of each item in that thing.
Mhm.
And like today, we will like specify each one of those quants, like of each ingredient. But back then, we were like, don't change anything. And our answer had to be that, because we wouldn't have been able to say like, yeah, swap this out or swap that out.
Right.
Anyway, when we launched our product, our company has done very well. As you mentioned earlier, we've been very fortunate. We just shipped our 2 millionth box about 30 days ago. And, we very fortunate. I mean, all time, I don't know the number, but it's probably close to $100 million in sales all time. And it has to do with like the product working for the consumer. Like the product does perform outstandingly well for the
Mhm.
consumer. So if it didn't perform well, guys wouldn't come back. So yeah, that's the story. I mean, since then, we've been working, 'cause it's, 8 years ago, we're 7 years old in July, but we made these products, a year and a half before.
Mm.
So now now we are looking at working on our formulas and making sure that we've got like the latest chemistry in our formulas and things of that nature. But we still, to this day, haven't reduced the cost of making product. Our product's very expensive to make. We sell it for a very reasonable price point, and it costs us, it's very expensive compared. If you go buy anything from Dove Plus Man or anything, that's out there at all, that's in any retail store, they just don't use that high quality ingredients. Like, and
Right.
how can I say that? Like, I go and we make our product at some of these places where these companies make their product. We received our facial serum in from our vendor out of LA, and Goop, which is like, a huge women brand, Gwyneth Paltrow's brand,
Hmm.
and she makes her product in the same manufacturing plant. She, I mean, we received her product. I don't know if I can say this. I'm going to say it anyway. We received by accident
She's not
11 pallets.
listening, by the way. I'm
I
sure
know
she.
she doesn't give a shit what we say.
No.
We received 11 pallets of her product on our loading dock about 3 weeks ago. And it was supposed to be a shipment of our serum, our facial serum. And that product is like, we open up our shipping department, our transportation department, open up the pallets, look at the load tags, said this product's not ours, open up the boxes, verified, pulled out Goop's product. It's a facial serum. Said, yeah, this is definitely not ours. We looked at all the formulation of the product, and and the per ounce size is identical. As a matter of fact, it's in this almost the same packaging from the same, and it's made in the same place that we make ours. We
Right.
have our own formula. They have their own formula. They sell theirs for $135 for zero point 0.5 ounces. $135. We sell it to our guys that are on subscription for like $19.99. And we sell it our MSRP is $27. It's the same freaking product. I mean, like, it's not, the formula is not the same. I don't mean to represent it that. It has the same very typical ingredients made in the same place, high end ingredients. They're selling theirs for 135. We sell ours for 27 retail. Our face mask, which is our number one selling product, also made in LA, different company. There's a company called Glam Glow, which is like kind of like the number one women's face mask. They sell it for 1.9 ounces for $85. Our formula is better by about 7-8% based on the ingredients and the things that we use. We sell ours for $23.99 for 2 ounces, the exact same. So it's just, we have really good products, and guys buy them and then they say, oh shit, these products work really well. And it's because we have really good ingredients and we pay
Right.
a lot of money for it, and we make them in the same factory that a lot of these big companies make their stuff in. So yeah,
That's very,
got me going there, Jay.
no, that's super interesting. Appreciate that. Like, that's the type of stuff to, I mean, you don't hear that, right? Like, nobody's gonna, like, if I look up your company or I look up any of those other companies, I would never find that story
No.
anywhere, or even any of the information about the ingredients, the formulation, or the manufacturing. Right? So it's all super, super enlightening.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a plant in Indiana, and they're making all of like Johnson and Johnson's hair care products. And what they do is they analyze your product. They took all of our products and put them apart, and they said, "Hey, they're like, your product's just amazing." We said, "Thank you very much." They go, "This is their exact words from their lead chemist." They said, at this company, I'm not going to say the company again, at this company, they have like mostly water in their products. And then they have some foo-foo dust sprinkled in, literally verbatim, the words that she used. They have some foo-foo dust like, agua pui or aloe something or vitamin E. And that's it. That's all they've got. So it makes a difference.
That's wild. Well, I mean, you've got such a great background in this stuff. I mean, how, and there's probably 50 million layers to all this, but
Yeah.
how are you kind of using all that expertise to go after men? And like, how have you refined who your target is, who your ICP is over the years? Like, has it changed since when you first started? Like, have you honed in like very specifically, like age wise, demographic wise? Like, how have you done that? Has that changed as you guys have learned more about your product and more about your
Yeah.
customer?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, we know, so we're a digital marketing company. We have, insane analytics and attribution. So we really know, we have a very good sense of like where our guys are coming from and a lot of demographic information on them. We spent, you know, hundreds of hours researching them qualitatively and quantitatively. And we use different messages for different guys. And in the beginning, I actually thought guys would be older, more like me, so late 30s into the 50s. But and this is a specific answer your question. That's what I thought. I wanted to go after guys that were like me that realize they need help. what happened in the very beginning, like year 1 and year 2, we had a lot of younger guys. And I was actually really upset by that. I'm like, this is terrible. These aren't our guys, blah, blah, blah. I was very wrong, by the way. That was, really an ignorant early observation for me. We got to get back to the older guys. But it was because of the channels that we were communicating on. We were communicating with, through channels that were really resonating with younger guys were on those channels. So, I wasn't like on YouTube, 8 years ago, unless I had to fix my wash machine, right?
Right. Yeah.
You go on YouTube, the wash machine doesn't work. You got to fix it. You got to get it done tonight because you're going to be on a plane to go visit somebody tomorrow. So you're just like ripping the thing apart, watching some YouTube videos. So, early on, we were all over like YouTube and social channels. Like today, TikTok's very young.
Mhm.
Facebook was very young, but it's gotten so much older. Like, so there's a lot of older people now, so yeah, we know who our customers are. We have a very good sense for what resonates with different age groups. Our biggest cohort goes from 18 to 31. So we have hundreds of thousands of guys between 18 and 31. And then between 31 and like really 70, we have like another couple 100,000 guys. So there's a huge gap, between 30 and 70, like 40 years, we have like half of our population.
Um, and how are you kind of traditionally marketing it? Is it traditional marketing these days? Are you dumping more money into SEO stuff? Or are you dumping more stuff into Amazon? Like, how are you guys kind of trying? And it may have changed, like you said, as you started, it was like the younger YouTube guys, and are you still doing
Yeah.
that? Like, how are you guys attracting new clients
Yeah.
today?
We're spending millions of dollars, on, it's funny you say traditional marketing. I don't know, like,
Yeah, I don't,
I'm not
it's a
sure
weird
how,
term.
what
It's a
that
weird
really
term.
means
Yeah.
anymore. What we spend millions of dollars on, on marketing, and we spend it across, a wide variety of digital channels. Our biggest bucket of spend is in what we talk about as influencer marketing, which is for us, that's long form digital content. So integrations into, a guy talking about a specific topic, or potentially a woman talking about a specific topic, or could be in shorter form, user generated influencer content. We spend a lot of money there, but then we spend money across the board, like in everything from, you know, our website to affiliates to, SEO and paid social. And we spend a lot of time, in organic market. We spend a lot of money on organic, which is like a brand building, platform that's just about building our tribe. So, and then it goes into, we're very subscription based. So we spend a lot of money on what we call success marketing, which is, you know, making sure that Jay and is very happy with us, that he gets great experience with our customers experience team, that he gets like a pretty unique experience in his box when he receives our product, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, I was just mentioning, was looking for exactly what you guys do. You came up on Amazon. I still need to try you guys, but I think, it's impressive to hear that story and then see it be so well received online, and, whatever you're doing's working, right? All those 50 million different things you just mentioned, which I think is the kind of the spinning plates that a lot of business owners deal with, is like having all these different channels moving, but doing them in a way that generates revenue, right? Because it doesn't pay to be busy. It pays to like find
Yeah.
the right channel,
Yeah.
spend the right money on it, and then get some ROI, which it sounds like you guys have been pretty successful doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really super hard. So you need to be dialed into every channel. I mean, the amount of fluctuation we see in channels is daily and weekly and monthly.
Hmm.
So we're looking at every channel every day. I'll get a report that like line by line, every single channel that we spend money in, how we performed yesterday in that channel. So, and we're constantly just like a DJ's, like slightly turning the dials a little bit to see if we can get it right. We're constantly fine tuning it to see if we can get our marketing mix right, because it changes, and it changes in season too. I mean, it changes for all different types of reasons. We're coming up in a busy time for us, not our busiest time, but a very busy time in Q4. And, and people, our competitors will be starting to spend millions of dollars. So they'll
Mhm.
like literally just kind of drown us out of the market. So we really just want to be, you know, in the mix, but be careful. I mean, we could lose so much money in a day or two if we're not being really careful. We just get outbid on everything.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a big, reason why a lot of people just stay away from all that, right? They're just like, I don't even want to deal with SEO. I don't want to deal with whatever because you're afraid of being drowned out. Um, if you had to start over again tomorrow, what would be step one?
And regardless of what business it's in, right? I would say like without a doubt, 150%, like how are you going to sell, your fill in the blank, your
Hmm.
service or your product? Like, how are you going to sell it? And will someone be willing to buy it? So I think like that is so critical. I was with my advisory board in this story that I was describing earlier, the first time we went out, Teach versus V1, and a guy on that board that I put together, who I still talk to regularly, his name's Joe. He said to me, look, just sell me one box. I thought he was like such an ass. He's like, and I love the guy. He's like, just sell him one box to like not a family and friend and come back and tell me that you sold one box. And I'm like, okay, Joe, you're an ass. I'll sell one box. I'll be done tomorrow. It took weeks and weeks to happen. So it's like, you really have to have that dialed in. Like, how are you going to sell your services? How are you going to sell your product? And is there really truly like a demand there for it? So you got to figure that out, and I would say to do that, you can do it on the real cheap and down low. And we actually do it right now too. Like we'll, not with our product, but with like things that we'll give away, with us with an order. We'll like buy very low quantity of something and just and it may not even be like branded like our Tiege Hanley brand. And we'll see if someone like if it's as a free gift, will people buy it as an example. And then if it works well for us, then we'll, spend time to develop it. So you can growth hack your way into figuring out whether or not your idea is sellable by coming up with some scaled back version and see whether or not you can sell it before you really go all in on whatever it is you think you're doing.
No, I love that. And I think a lot of people get in trouble because they think people are going to buy stuff and think they have the greatest idea, but don't know that anybody's going to actually buy it before they go out and spend a bunch of sweat equity and real equity. Last question. Who was your first customer? Who was that non-friend and family member? How did you, and even if it's not the exact person, how did you make that sale?
Yeah. Um, Shameful of me that I don't actually know the gentleman's name. We have what we did was we vlogged for a year. So right when Aaron Robb and I created the company, as I was kind of describing to you, and brought on our chemist, Aaron started video vlogging about the making of the company. So like we're doing and it was weekly. We're doing this week. We're doing this. We selected our packaging this week. We've done all this stuff. So, and we were signing up guys to buy our product during that period of time. And so we had a list of thousands of guys to buy our product when the day we launched the new site. And we actually gave, I think it was like a 1 to 5 day period of time. I don't remember exactly how much it was. We gave everybody like a day one VIP coupon that they would be like, get 10% off for their entire life. And we still have, and I think there was like 1,000 guys, 800 to 1,000 guys that got like this day one VIP. And we still have like hundreds of those guys still buying from us regularly. So it was just really, you know, man, I love those guys. I mean, they're our best customers or some of our best customers that have been with us for, a long time. That's how we got started.
Love that. That's a great idea. I love the 10% for life. All right. Well, I feel like I could talk to you for about 5 days about all the cool stuff that you got, but let's end it there. Kelley, if people want to find Tiege, how do they do, if people want to reach out to you as well, how do they do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hit me up on LinkedIn. I publish a lot of content there, which is meant 100% meant just to help people based on the experience that I've had in my career. You can go to teach.com and /first customer podcast and get, a great offer. I think it is a 30% offer, which is our best offer out there. So I encourage anybody that's interested in thinking about a skincare journey to go to teach.com/first customer podcast and try our product out and let me know what you think on LinkedIn.
Beautiful. Then I will definitely post that link. And dude, you're awesome. I love the
Thanks, Jeff.
story. You've got a great journey. It just feels like, kind of you figured out a lot of things that people are trying to figure out. So there's a lot of useful stuff in this episode. So thank you for being on, brother. And
Thank
have
you.
a good rest of your week. We'll talk again soon, all right?
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kelley. All right.